17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films, and welcome once again to the Drive-In Asylum double feature. I'm Bill Van Ryn from Fanzine Drive-In Asylum.
I'm Sam from BNS About Movies, and up on top here we have our special guest Dianna Koch from Giallo of the Month Club. Welcome to Drive-In Asylum.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and especially talk about stage fright, which is amazing.
Awesome.
It's good stuff, right?
I broke out my Blue Underground Blu-ray DVD of it, my ancient DVD of it for it. I maybe need to upgrade this, but that's what I'm going to watch it on tonight.
I love that art. So
yeah. Cool. It's got the other art inside it too. Oh no, it doesn't. I thought it had the Aquarius art in it. I've seen that one too. Oh
yeah, I had to rep Soavi as additional director on the shirt. I don't have a stage fright shirt, so close as I could get.
Tenebrae is always well appreciated by everybody here, I'm sure. So, why don't you tell the folks in chat and watching a little bit about your podcast?
Awesome. Sure. So, Giallo of the Month Club is a monthly podcast where I talk about the subversive themes or the social relevance behind a different Giallo of the month. I am not an expert. I actually started the podcast as a way to just dive into Giallo month to month. I love Dario Argento's work, Sergio Martino, Mario Bava. I know all the heavy hitters, but 3-4 years ago when I started the podcast, like that's all I had seen. So I use the podcast as a way to dive into personally a different Giallo month to month, and then look into, what stands out amongst them, or what is a recurring theme amongst each monthly Giallo, and it kind of grew from there. And I've been lucky enough to interview like Claudio Simonetti, which is from Goblin, and he's an iconic Italian film composer. And I talked to James Wan about Malignant, that is not a Giallo, but I remember he said that it was like heavily inspired by Giallo films. So Giallo Month Club, every month I either do a solo episode or I have a guest. Sam has been a guest on the podcast as of 2 months ago. We talked about Too Beautiful to Die, which was an awesome 90s Giallo music video. Erotic thriller.
I meant to tell you the director, who I am now friends with on Facebook, wrote a whole bunch about Deep Red and his analysis of Deep Red last week, which is amazing. So I'll send it to you. It's really good.
Yeah, I would be super interested in reading that. I'm like, when I watch a movie on my personal time, Giallo or not Giallo, I'm definitely someone that analyzes like underlying themes, and I just try to look for stuff beyond the surface level. As much as I love like cinematography and music and things like that, I like to kind of get into the director's head or find out really like what is special and makes it stand out. And that was basically, the aim of my podcast. And I've watched some stinkers, and I've watched some that have been awesome. I've watched some that have been listener recommendations that I'm like, that's not Giallo, that's not a murder mystery. So it's fun whether I like the movie or don't like it. It's great to just explore the genre, and I have a lot of fun with it. And again, I do it month to month, so it's really cool. it's cool and it's diverse. I feel like I try to mix it up with the different decades. Like one episode I'll do like a 1970s, just classic standard like Who Done It. And then like, the next month I do movies like Stage Fright where it's just eye candy galore. Yeah.
That was definitely too beautiful to die, because after listening to that episode of your podcast, I demanded that we do it on our program.
Yeah.
I didn't have to twist Sam's arm or anything.
No, I'll watch it as many times as it takes until I don't think I can watch it too many times. So everybody seemed to really enjoy it too. A lot of people are like, there's not really any story in this. I'm like, yeah, I know.
And what's fun about my podcast is, again, like the movies that I watch, they're first time watches for me. Like I try to make it fresh, go in with fresh eyes, explore this subgenre. That's where it started. That's how the genesis of the podcast started. Very first episode I ever did was Tenebrae, which I had seen a million times. It's my favorite Giallo, and I would say it's still my favorite. I have like a couple that have snuck into the top 5 since starting the podcast. But I definitely, I've never saw Too Beautiful to Die or heard of it until you actually recommended it to me, like probably 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like put it on my watch list, and again, month to month, so I kind of get through them one at a time. And you were the perfect guest to have one, so I really appreciate your thoughts.
I sent Diana the longest email ever about her show. It was like all these recommendations, and it was like, oh, I felt like a maniac sending it. But I was so excited that somebody was talking about these movies.
It might have been about Stage Fright.
It probably was, yeah.
I feel like it was an October episode, and Stage Fright was October 3 years ago.
Yeah. I obviously have a lot to say about this movie. I mean, it's written by George Eastman, who's my all-time favorite Italian actor. So
that's your guy.
That's my guy, yeah. And it's and produced by Joe D'Amato. So of course it's like right up my alley. And I love Soavi a lot. Like I wish he had done more films. Obviously he stopped because his son was sick and he had to take a break for a while. But like he really had a run going. Unfortunately, the Italian film industry was not what it was in the 70s and 80s, or I think perhaps he would have stuck around a little longer doing it.
Yeah.
But this one is, I wrote about it. It's like the first time I saw this, I had no idea what it was about. I just knew the image of the owl kind of character in it. And then it starts like, I think I'm watching a slasher, and all of a sudden it turns into cats. And I was like, what is going on with this movie? And I was like very ill prepared.
Best part is the cat.
Yeah. And there's so much stuff that happens in it. And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. And it just keeps like building up on it. And I think that's why I love it, because it is kind of slasherish, but there's a lot of the debate is always, is it a slasher or genre? I would say this is a little closer to a slasher.
For sure. I think that again with me, like my personal, the way that I sort of gauge if it's Giallo or not Giallo is like, is there much of a mystery? And there really isn't much of a mystery. You know who the killer is from the first 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely that rare film that is both slasher and Giallo, and I'm not mad at it at all for being that.
Yeah. I think the other thing I always think of is, are the murders important, or are the set pieces and fashion important? Like this doesn't have kind of maybe more of the fashion that that you're looking for, but it definitely has the Argento-esque, like, where is this camera, and how did a key fall from nowhere towards a camera? Like,
why is there only one key?
Oh, this is a movie that Bill and I talk about all the time. This is like literally our barometer for how bad are the cops in a movie. Stage Fright is the worst cops, because as you guys will see, literally it is, the cops just lock everybody in. There's a killer on the loose, and they're just like, yeah, this is the way we deal with things. We fund the slasher and Giallo police.
They're right up there with the policeman in Windows with Talia Shire.
Yeah.
The police department advises her to get back into the cab with the man who has already assaulted her in her home. And sometimes they're like, yeah, just get back in the cab, and like, we'll be waiting for you at the end.
They're the worst. That's at the beginning of every episode, I always try to do like, this movie includes, so, whatever Giallo elements. And it's like, unhelpful, terrible policeman.
Almost every Giallo has bad cops, because they're like, eventually the foreigner, especially in the early Argento ones, like, I'm not even from this country, and now I'm trying to solve this murder that I have no clue about, and I'm trying to figure out, and the cop's like, "Yeah, you should do that. We'll give you a special phone number to call us." That's my favorite one, like, "We'll give you a special number, so you'll get
Mhm.
directly through to us." Like,
Yeah.
no one's carrying a cell phone. Like,
And
this is very
one,
dangerous.
and it's just like one detective.
Yeah.
There's not the whole precinct isn't on it. So what if that one detective is out to lunch?
Rome has one detective, and that's it. 1972 Rome, one detective,
They're
and
seriously
that's it.
understaffed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they would have been good cops, that would have been over in 5 minutes. Yeah, there wouldn't be a movie.
They're all in the streets fighting the Days of Lead from the Polizioteca movies. That's where the rest of the cops are. They're like having these huge shootouts, and like they have one cop for like sex crimes, and that's he's the what do you call it, the SVU kind of guy for the whole city.
Yeah, just one guy.
He's Liv, Finn, Rollins, all of them rolled into one.
Munch, they're all there.
Munch. I loved Munch. He and Finn were partners for a while on the show, and I loved like how they would snipe at each other. Good stuff.
That's my favorite is when Bill gets stuck in like a 10-hour Law and Order marathon, and I get text from him during it. Like, you should see what Munch just did.
Oh my god. I love those episodes though, because I don't know, I don't know if we were talking about this when you were on Giallo the Month Club, but how every actor has been on SVU, and it's like on their resume, even if they've had like a 5-minute part. Like if you live in New York, like you've been on SVU.
Yeah. Don't even put it on your resume anymore.
Yeah.
My wife and I are obsessed with the actors on it that don't stop working when a cop's interrogating them. They're like unloading boxes, and like a cop is interrogating you about a crime. Like you can stop working for a couple seconds. It's always like a bartender, and he's like getting bottles out for the next night, and he's like, "Yeah, I seen him," and he just keeps doing bottles, and it's like, it's amazing.
He's earning that paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been interrogated about a murder, but I think I would stop writing for a couple seconds. I would chill out to give my proper answers.
For sure.
You'd stop watching episodes of The Night Stalker and
well, I can't stop doing that. I am done though. I just did all 20 episodes, Bill, and it was really sad when I got to the Century. I was super sad.
It's a
because
bummer.
that's one of my favorite ones. Though I did find out there are 3 scripts that were written and turned into that weren't filmed, and they were turned into comics. So maybe someday I'll get to those ones. I'm not doing the 2000s Night Stalker.
Oh, Night Stalker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kolchak, yeah. I'm not getting to the 2000s one ever. I tried the first 2 episodes, and it was such a downer. I'm like, I can't watch this show. I need fun with my monster chasing.
I liked the new one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I was really, again, there were hardly any episodes to it, but
yeah, 6 episodes aired. Yeah,
there were more that were filmed, and they made them available online. I don't know. It's nothing could ever be Darren McGavin in the Night Stalker, but as a concept for a show, I thought it was pretty cool.
They kind of they digitally put Darren McGavin in the first episode. Where you see him like leaving the office.
He had a cameo.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, as with every horror or science fiction show that I've ever liked, it lasted like it'll last like 12 episodes. The rest aired in Europe or came out on DVD, and that was it.
Who was the special guest star in the Century?
Oh, his wife.
You just posted about it. I thought because I couldn't remember.
Yeah, his wife is in it. She's the cop in it, and it's one of the few cops that's nice to him. And
okay.
Tom Bosley is the other special guest star of TV's Happy Days.
So I can see the chat going off. Do we allowed to comment?
Oh yeah.
On the way. So I'm from Baltimore, born and raised, and I see like Baltimore John Waters popping up, and that is yes, John Waters. He's like still lives in Baltimore. He shows up at Auto Bar, which is a bar punk show venue, iconic in Baltimore. And the Homicide Life on the Street building is now a boutique hotel in a little area called Fells Point, and it's now like a $700 a night hotel.
Isn't Fells Point where Divine does her walk in Pink Flamingos? Can't help it. The girls can't help it.
So I know Hamden was predominantly featured in a lot of John Waters' work, but I'm not sure about that. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
I think it's Fells Point.
Yeah, I mean it's a happening area, except for it's all cobblestone, so I don't know how well a walk would go down.
Yeah, he even said in the commentary, I think, that Fells Point used to be like a place where you would go and get murdered, but it became upwardly mobile at some point.
Yeah,
He
I
said
mean
it was
all
fixed
of
up.
Baltimore is that. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely changed over the years. It's possibly it's Fells Point. But yeah, it's really cool. Like I always seeing John Waters like out and about is just not a rare thing in Baltimore because he still lives there, and you know he just kind of goes about his daily life, and he's really into the scene, and he does book signings at a local bookstore called Atomic Books, and you can send him if you send him fan mail, it like goes there, and he like goes in person to pick up his fan mail and things like that. So he's cool.
I went there once and I was like, will this be the day he shows up? Of course not. The rare day that
you
I'm
have
in
to go to
Baltimore.
Auto Bar. Go to Auto Bar, down to the downstairs bar. That's where he usually is. Or the Whole Foods, that is the closest Whole Foods to the Auto Bar.
I never met John Waters. I met Mink Stoll. She did a convention and we hung out afterwards, and it was amazing. We went to dinner with a bunch of other people, but she sat right next to me and I talked to Mink Stoll all night, and I was like, oh my God, I was eating dinner with Connie Marble.
I love those really low-key convention meetings where like you're not like paying to meet them, or they're just hanging out at the bar just chatting. Yeah. Like, and of course, like we know us, at least the three of us know, like you don't really like approach people in a certain manner or at all. Like you kind of just chop it up with them and it comes about. And those are always really nice interactions.
I'm always nervous to however I approach somebody. So, you know, even if they're not a celebrity, I mean anybody. So
Bill has seen me be super shy around people, and he always thinks it's hilarious. So that's Bill's favorite. Especially when Bill pushes me to talk to them, and I'm still like, and Bill and Becca will push me towards people like Joe Bob, and I'll be like, yeah, I can't. Like, he knows you. He talked to you online. Like, he knows that you're coming. I'm like, it's okay. I like all your movies, and I just ran. It was great.
I go to Fantastic Fest every year. It's like my, I think 11th or 12th year coming up, and it's my favorite. That's my favorite genre film festival or favorite film festival, period. And that's another one where it's just for the fans and the people that are typically there. If there's, you know, industry or, you know, actors or directors or whatnot, they're also fans. Like sometimes they'll have a movie playing, but they'll stay before or after just to watch the movies. And that's very much the vibe where it's like you don't want to geek out at them, but you also like want to tell them like that you really, really enjoy their work or, you know, respect. I don't typically go up to anyone. I went up to Ari Aster a few years ago and just told him I really love Hereditary. And of course I'm like, he just was the nicest person, and that's what everyone was saying, was he was so nice. I'm like, I have to meet him and see if like this gentleman is actually indeed a very nice person for the movies that he creates. And indeed, he was so nice, and like it was a very genuine, nice experience. But Fantastic Fest gets like Elijah Wood there every year because he lives in Austin, and I think like Taika Waititi was there a couple years ago, and I saw Guillermo del Toro, Crimson Peak, whenever it came out, like walking through the lobby. I didn't get into the secret screening that was Crimson Peak, so I was like out in the lobby and all my friends were in the movie, and he walked by and I was like, oh, now I know what the secret screening is. So I'm fine with that. And then I just went to the bar and probably talk to someone else about movies.
Oh man.
I haven't met Joe Bob. Yeah. I see it in the chat saying Joe Bob's really nice. I really want to meet him. I always miss him when he comes to conventions.
Yeah, he did the Redneck show here, and it was awesome. It was a blast, yeah. And we had a great time at it.
Are either of you going to the Jamboree in Vegas in October?
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm traveling like 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to, I think I said on the show, we're going to Utah at the end of August for Halloween 6 live at the house where it was filmed, which is
Cool.
which is gonna be pretty awesome. And I will, of course, because Utah's where Night Train to Terror was filmed. I will be trying to hunt down Night Train to Terror locations and send pictures of them to Mike Justice in the chat because that's a movie he and I are inordinately obsessed with.
That's
What do you
awesome.
mean it was filmed there? Nothing was filmed specifically for that, was it? Wasn't it
Some
filmed
of
all
the
over?
some of the movies in it are filmed there. The movies within the movie, and some of the train stuff is filmed around there too, like the backgrounds and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think Suicide Club, one of the 3 stories, was filmed there for some reason. I have the idea. Sure, Michael set me straight. I do know Savage Journey, the other movie that Philip Jordan did with a lot of the same crew, his dramatic retelling of Mormon history with Bull from Night Court. That is also was filmed there. So I'm one of the few people to care about any Philip Jordan movies in Utah, so it'll be exciting.
I always do that when I travel. I'm always like, this was filmed here. I have to go.
Have you found some cool stuff?
So I went to, oh, there's your kitty, Sam. Nice.
Yeah, there he is. There's Andy.
Cat spotting. I have to shout out
Yeah.
cat spotting. Cat jump scare. So I had a work trip to Michigan, like right outside of Detroit a couple years ago. And I'm a big fan of the Scream films. The original Scream is my all-time favorite film, and I like the rest of them, and I love slasher films. But Scream 4 was filmed in this little town called Northville in Michigan, and it was I can't remember how it was, maybe like 45 minutes or so outside of Detroit, and I took a drive there. It was in October, and it was the cutest town I've ever seen in my life. It's just like white picket fences, all decorated up. The little main street in town, like they have like a Halloween contest where each business decorates a skeleton. So there's like a dentist, and outside there's like a skeleton getting dental work, and like some of them were like kind of messed up, but it was really cute. So that was like probably my most surprising one, was being like, I just happened to be having a work trip, like not.
Becca just yelled. That is where Becca grew up. It's really close to. It's next to Livonia is where she's from,
Okay.
which is the next town over. Also, It Follows was filmed really close to there too.
Yes, and I did like a little It Follows tour. Don't Breathe. Like I drove into like the hood in Detroit to see like.
We were watching It Follows, and she's like, "I've been here. I think I drank here." Whenever it went, where they're at the psych ward, she's like, "I think I've been to parties here." And like I was like, "Oh man!" And so yeah, and then we looked it up. I'm like, yeah, it totally was.
Yeah, that was probably my most surprising. But I've done like, I went to Toronto and did like a bunch of like non-horror things like saw where like Scott Pilgrim was filmed and stuff like that. But my favorite one was definitely like Michigan. But we're going to my partner and I are going to Boston in a few weeks, and we're gonna go to Salem, which I've been before, but I didn't spend a lot of time there because it was October the last time I went, and it was so packed I couldn't see much. So I really want to look in to see like what movies were filmed in Salem, and do a little tour of that while it's not so busy.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus. Yeah, Becca just yelled.
Sure.
We went to the town where Practical Magic was filmed, which was pretty exciting. And then when we were in Seattle, her aunt's like, we should go to Forks because that's where they filmed Twilight. And we're like, okay. And we got there and like, no, it's British Columbia. Why are we here?
No.
There is nothing. The entire town of Forks has been turned into a Twilight town. Like the Shop and Save there has themed sandwiches, and it's like, yeah, the Edward sandwich has roast beef in it. So in case you're wondering what goes into the Edward or Jacob sandwich.
In case there's any Twihards in the chat.
Becca's only souvenir from them, she got a generic Bic lighter that someone painted Twilighter on it. So, oh yeah, there was a bus that was painted with their faces on it, and like someone just painted it, like a kid painted it.
I'll admit this because we're all friends here, but I am also a Twihard.
We watched all of the movies. You don't need to go to Forks. Yeah, you can avoid Forks because there's nothing there. But
in my defense, I have a sister that's 14 years younger than me, so she was like the age of like when it came out, like really into it. So we kind of bonded on that.
I'm kind of obsessed by the fact that they play baseball so much.
Oh my gosh, the baseball scene, like
Yeah.
it needs awards. Like, why didn't it
Yeah. But literally it was a 4-hour drive from Seattle. We had to get on a boat, and her aunt's like, it's going to be so great. And then we got there, and I got on the internet, and I'm like, it wasn't filmed here. And I'm like, and then everybody got mad at me. And I just was quiet for the rest of the day. We were on the same, what movie was filmed on that ferry that we rode? Enough? Oh, Double Jeopardy was filmed on with Ashley Judd. Not a Giallo, but close. Was
Did you
filmed
just
on
mention
the
Enough with Jennifer Lopez?
It is. They're the same movie, aren't they? Becca, I just said that so Becca would get mad. That is in Seattle too. You're right. That's a movie I just call Enough. Enough, Jennifer Lopez.
Enough, Jennifer Lopez. We've
Slim
had
is her name.
enough.
Becca's seen Enough. So many. The only movie she's seen more is Gone Girl, probably than Enough. That's a all the time watch. Yeah, and Midsummer a lot too, and Hereditary, a lot of Hereditary now.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't like it first time, but now
Becca,
she's watched it.
Have you seen Talk to Me yet?
No, we were talking about seeing it. So yeah, is it good?
Go see it.
Okay.
If you're watching Hereditary a lot because you like it, correct?
Yeah.
You're not hate watching it. Yeah. Go see Talk.
I don't like it, but she loves it, so I'll watch what she watches.
Okay.
So she was incensed the first time. The first time she didn't like it, and then it grew on her. And now every time I come upstairs from work, it's somehow on. Either that or Mindhunter or some murder show is on, and that's what's on. Bill, you got some ads up there. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut your ads off.
Oh, that's okay. There was dynamic chat.
Hold on, Cubby's coming in for a sneak appearance.
Oh no!
Oh no! What are you
doing?
What are you doing?
Count Cubby.
Give me the microphone. I have something to say.
He said, "Where's Vivi?"
Where's Vivi at, Bill? That's what he wants to know.
Vivi's hiding. She's sitting on the stairs waiting for Mark to come back.
Okay, we'll hear when Bill. This you posted this ad, I think, already this week, right?
Yeah, I don't have any ads to look at for Stage Fright because it did not play theatrically in the United States. So I thought we'd look at some of my banger ads I've been running on the Groovy Doom page, and this one got a lot of traction. This one always gets everybody's attention.
Mm-hmm.
I love the art for Mother's Day so much. It's very like creepy magazine EC looking.
Oh, this was iconic. I could not imagine what that movie was even about because she's half of a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, maybe there's something supernatural going on, but not really.
Well, the end, spoiler, the end of it suddenly turns into a Bigfoot movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
There is some supernatural freak out at the end, but
yeah. Oh, but that and Dawn of the Dead together is a dynamic double feature.
Yeah. Where was Mother's Day filmed? Is that like a local? It's like an East Coast production, right?
I think upstate New York, because it's a trauma, an early trauma film.
Yeah.
Perhaps someone in the chat will answer.
And Dawn of the Dead was Pittsburgh, correct?
Monroeville, yeah.
Monroeville, and other areas in the other places in the area, but mainly the mall. Which, if you lived here, you probably shopped there, which was really bizarre. Seeing it with zombies and machetes.
I always dreamed of ice skating in that rink, and then people are getting killed in it.
Yeah,
it's upsetting.
I only went on that ice skating rink once because every single time we went shopping there, I'd be like, "Can we go ice skating?" No, because we're here shopping. Of course. They were right.
Ice skating while everyone else goes shopping.
Yeah,
that's what I suggested, and it was shot down immediately.
That was the 70s when your parents would just leave you at an arcade for like 2 hours while they shopped. They would be like, "Just here's like $2, and you're good." And like, how will I know when you come back? You'll just stand here. Okay.
Yeah, you'll just be right in the spot.
Paul, thanks for setting me straight. I know it is not a trauma movie. You're right. It's Lloyd's brother who made it. Thank you. That's probably why I like Mother's Day. It's not a trauma movie.
Because it's not a trauma movie.
Yeah, but thank you for setting me straight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I remember that that art on VHS covers walking through Blockbuster. That was one of the iconic art, like promo arts that I really remember, like that, the Pit, April Fool's Day. Like I remember those just sticking out to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, this was just another unrated movie, so it made sense that these two would run together. on a double bill. Although there was at some point an R-rated cut of Dawn of the Dead, and it was for Creepshow, a double feature with Creepshow, and I guess it was rarely screened because people freaked out when all the good stuff was cut out. I would have freaked out too. Honestly, I wouldn't want to go to the movies to pay to see that.
Oh man, look at
this is Maine, right?
Yeah,
The driving in Maine,
home of Steve King.
Yeah, Bill does a series on his Facebook page from a city, so he's been in Bangor for a bit, and we talk about it the last couple weeks. They referred to Stephen King as Steve King on one of the ads a while back, so he's a Steve King to us now.
U of M graduate Steve King.
Steve King.
That was what he was known for in 1978, I guess.
Does he still live there, like in that like castle, that gothic looking house with the black wrought iron fence?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I was never like.
I have a shirt that says like Stephen King rules, and it's like him in front of his house, and it's like a really cool, like just really old house that I think it might be painted black. I can't remember because the print's just a white print, but then it has a wrought iron, like real spooky fence in front of it.
I begged my parents to take me to see Popeye, and it was one of my first, that and probably Atari Pac-Man, Bill, were two of my first childhood letdowns, where I was like, this is not Popeye. Popeye doesn't eat spinach. And I'm sure if I saw it today, I probably would like the brave choices made in Popeye, but it really scarred me as a kid, so I never watched it again.
I never had any interest in going to see Popeye. I would have begged them to take me to see something else, something R-rated.
Yeah.
The Funhouse, definitely.
The Funhouse.
Yeah.
Right?
The Funhouse was a definite no.
Yeah.
To any adult in my life, but I did read.
I love the Funhouse. That's yeah.
I read the book. I checked it out of the library, and the book is completely different from the movie. It's written, of course, by Dean Koontz under a pseudonym, Owen West. And they hired him to write the novelization of the film, and he read the script and he was like, would you mind if I like flesh this out a little bit? And they're like, no, go ahead. So he built all this like complex backstory for these characters, and it was so well done. And then I went to see the movie and I was like, that's it? That's all. Well, I mean, I watched it on HBO. I was like, wow, they cut everything out of the book, but no, it was the other way around. What about The Island? Do you guys like The Island?
I've never seen it. I know the poster with like the knife coming out of the water, but I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either. No.
That's the Peter Benchley book, and they market it as, it was going to be as big as Jaws because
from the writer of
Jaws.
Yes. Yeah.
It's about pirates. And
I may have seen clip. It was an HBO movie, wasn't it? Like, or a movie.
They showed it over and over on HBO.
Yeah.
Michael Caine stars in it.
I'm shocked we haven't watched it then, because Becca and Michael Caine are dating. So yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah,
it's totally lowbrow. It's marketed like it was marketed as if it was this, big budget, high class.
This is why I love our chat, because Paul's like, I like The Island. Right after him, Chris is like, I hate The Island. So this is good. We're having a little Siskel and Ebert moment in the chat here.
Varying perspectives on The Island. It's cool.
Yeah. I will watch it though.
It's so trashy. It's like
Roger solved it. Roger was the rubber, and Roger was like, The Island is okay.
He's the middle ground.
I can hear Roger saying that in my head too. He's like, it's okay. This night, the Hand is awesome. The Hand's another HBO play a lot movie, Bill, and I love The Hand.
Where's that tagline come from? It strikes without warning. I don't remember that.
I think Oliver Stone wrote The Hand. I'm pretty sure
he directed it.
Yeah, he directed it.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was his first feature, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's a comic book artist in it. I do remember that because I was so excited as a kid. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a comic book movie. And I'm like, it stops after the hand gets cut off. Excalibur is another HBO movie that my parents were like, about an hour in, were like, you probably shouldn't be allowed to watch the end of this. Like, it's probably no more because it's pretty violent. It's pretty violent. I read the Mad Magazine version. That's what I know.
They're mean.
Yeah. You can go see it at 2. It's a kiddie matinee at 2 of Excalibur, an R-rated movie.
Yeah. I noticed that the last listing didn't have the time of the second movie. Is that typical when you look at these older listings? Because like this one has maybe, I don't know, it says Friday and Saturday, 6:45 and 9:15.
Yeah,
Says it
you're
starts
right.
at 15. So they're like, well, if you want to see the Funhouse, you better show up for Popeye.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what criteria they use. Maybe they just didn't have the information when they went to print.
Yeah.
They
Our
also didn't
local-
put the rating on Saturday Night Fever. I forgot to mention that. Well,
Yeah.
there's because it had 2 ratings. It was R-rated originally.
Yeah.
Then there was a PG cut in 81. So I bet this was the PG cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, I love Friday Part 2.
Yeah, me too.
I know you do. I like it too. I don't like it as much. I don't know. Maybe I like it. I like Bay of Blood too much. I have to get all angsty about it.
Ooh, I haven't seen any of these. Or it's
Oh.
just 2 of them.
Galaxina.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not great, but fun. And we talked about the van The van played last week in one of them, didn't they, Bill? We saw the van.
Yeah, we
with
were
another-
talking about the van.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a whole vansploitation series of movies. There's about 10 of them that came around at the same time. Supervan being my favorite.
Vansploitation. I love
No
that there
one's
was a
RV
subgenre.
exploitation movies. Certainly there can be our vansploitation too.
The van was late 70s, but this was in 1981. 'Cause that's when
Danny
Galaxy-
DeVito was in the van.
Oh,
Mhm.
really? Wow. I love the tagline. Bobby couldn't make it till he went fun trucking. What does that even mean? Hey, you guys, we're going fun trucking. Oh, shit.
Oh,
Oh, look out.
you should have told me it was fun trucking. I'm
Yeah.
going.
Oh, wow.
How about I totally
Whoa.
didn't know that Blazing Saddles was rated R. I thought it was PG.
It's R, yeah.
Yeah, I would believe it.
Man, I know exactly where I'd be, though. The Fear No Evil and Prom Night's a great double feature. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Man.
That's a good one.
Diana, how do you feel about Prom Night?
I like Prom Night a lot. I watched the second one for I think it was the first. I might have saw it like years, like 20 some years ago, but I watched it with fresh eyes a few weeks ago, and I'm like, this is a crazy film. The Mary Lou, what's it called? Mary Lou's Revenge or something.
Yeah. Hello, Mary Lou.
I like
We just
Prom
did it on the
Night.
show not too long ago.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like a lot of people pin like Prom Night and Terror Train against each other, and I'm more team Terror Train.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is Disco and Prom Night and Leslie Nielsen. Those are the two. And the beginning's pretty good. The opening with the kids and that stuff, that's pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was this movie that I watched. Oh God, I feel like it was like a couple weeks ago, and it reminds me of that poster for the van, or like the listing for the van, where I'm like, but there's some like smutty, gross stuff that happens in this movie. And it was in the movie that I watched, and I can't think of what it was because I feel like I blocked it out. But if it comes to me, I will see. I will ask you guys if you've seen it.
It was in the fun trucking genre.
Fun
I don't know. I feel like there was like there were like a bunch of ladies, and they just kind of seduced. I think they were supposed to be high schoolers too, so that was like a little like icky to me. Like just having sex with a bunch of guys and no really rhyme or reason why. And I feel like it's not fun trucking, but fun something happening. Oh, I think I found it. Hollywood High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1976. I'm like, is that what genre is that?
There were already some guesses. Vince was like, is it King Frat? No.
I
King
love
Frat
King
has
Frat.
a fart contest that kills somebody in it. I do know that of King Frat.
It was Hollywood High from 76.
Oh.
I was like, oh, there's some real gross stuff that happens in this movie.
That could be on your next podcast, Fun Trucking of the Fortnight.
Yeah, but I like Prom Night. I like I was really excited to check out the second one because they always talk about it on Joe Bob.
Yeah.
And then and then I watched that I don't know, whatever, I already forgot about what it was called. Hollywood High.
Hollywood High. It's trying to force itself out of your mind, Diana, and you just won't let it go.
I think it was like 3 months ago too. I'm like, that was last week. I'm like, no, that was like 3 months ago.
They listed the times for this one.
Yeah. Wow.
Ooh, I like this one.
This is so outrageously good. This pairing, My Bloody Valentine and the Warriors.
Yeah.
I love
Who was the killer in this My Bloody Valentine? Because I recently rewatched the remake and I don't like what the reveal in that. I don't know if I should spoil it.
It was the other one in the original. The remake makes it the other guy.
Okay.
I think it was Alex.
Well, the remake also does the thing that I hate where it's like there's a bunch of scenes that didn't really happen because like the killer is in the scenes where like the killer is seeing the killer. That guy who is the killer is seeing the killer. I'm like, well, how are you seeing him if he is the killer? And they show it to us like I'm like, I don't like that. You're tricking me.
It's not honest. It's dishonest.
It is very dishonest.
It's shot around Pittsburgh though, so Bill and I have to be like somewhat nicer to it than we normally would be. And Tom Atkins is in it.
And it has Dean from it does, yes. And it has Jensen Ackles from Supernatural in it. The new one, the remake.
Here's one I didn't find, unfortunately, when we did Horror of the Zombies last week on the program. This was 81 when somebody reissued, oh God, I forget the name of this company. They put out It Came from the Grave, which was Death Dream, of course. Death Dream, aka Dead of Night, Bob Clark's Vietnam tragic horror genre, vampire, zombie, freak out. And It Came from the Grave was the new title, with this ad campaign with some woman ostensibly being dragged down into a grave.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening to her there. Night of the Demon was not the Bigfoot movie, unfortunately. This was A Touch of Satan, aka The Touch of Melissa, from 1971. So this was a really old movie. It was showing with these other two.
And Horror of the Zombies. Yeah.
And
aka the Ghost Galleon.
Is that the original title for It Came from the Grave?
No, It Came from the Grave is Bob Clark's Death Dream.
Oh, okay.
From 74. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that also had several other titles, including Dead of Night, which I think was the original title that he put it out under. Anywho.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
It's pretty good, yeah. We showed that, didn't we, Bill? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did that as a late movie. We might have done it on Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. If not, we should have. I don't know why we didn't save it for Halloween.
I'm super excited about Stage Fright. Bill, you want me to let's do the cocktail and then I'll come back and do a little ditty about it.
I'm getting really dry. I need this cocktail that Sam's going to show us.
Yeah.
Robot Sam.
Hello, Robot Sam.
Who's watching Stage Fright?
Oh, I am. Hey, this is what do you make for Stage Fright? You make a drink without any Italian ingredients. You make tequila. We got some Avion tequila. We got some.
Say that again.
Avion.
Is it French or Mexican?
No, it's city. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think we've learned anything from my time on the show. I pronounce things like I'm from Green Acres. We got tequila. We got balls. Those are from Amsterdam. We got orgeat, which I don't know where that's from.
Almond syrup.
Simple syrup, that's from Candyland. And lime juice, that's from the garden. So anyway, 1.5 ounces tequila, ounce of blue curacao, 1/2 ounce of orgeat, and this is going to go in to make our simple syrup, which
It's already in there.
Yeah, it's already in there. We did juice of a lime and 1/2 ounce of simple syrup and water. So this is a light drink, I think, which goes really well with this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. So I wanted something that very smooth and not get you too drunk through it, but just to make you enjoy it. And I always consider blue with this movie because of the feathers falling. I know they're white, but it feels like if I was to give this movie a color, it'd be like a light blue. So that's where I went with it. So let's put in the tequila. You don't need a shaker for this one either. Oh. Look at that, nice and blue. It's like Windex. It's in the orgeat. Let's put this in here. My producer set this all up for me.
Yes.
She really did a great job. In case you wonder why these videos look anywhere near good.
Better than they used to.
No, I would say anywhere near good. It's all because of my wife. She was the producer. There we go. And this is The Mask of the Owl.
I mainly do it because I don't want my kitchen to look like a war zone.
Let's take a little Pazuzu with it.
It's very pretty.
Cubby said it tastes great. Cubby?
Cubby.
There we go, Pazuzu.
Good.
Yes, enjoy the movie.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu to you, Bill.
And Pazuzu to our special guest this evening, Dianna Koch from Giallo of the Month Club. We're so happy you're here, Dianna.
I did not have a blue drink, but I have a lavender mojito, in case anyone's wondering.
That is perfectly. We go off brand sometimes on this program, so even Sam.
I'm still waiting for a J&B sponsorship, so
Oh,
when that happens, you'll expect a lot of scotch drinks.
Ooh.
They did 8 Giallo movies at the drive-in that we have the Riverside where they have it twice a year, and I brought there were numerous bottles of J&B on our table, and people that had never had it before were like, "Oh, I can't wait to try it." And I'm like, "Hold on,
Yeah.
it's maybe not what you think it's gonna be."
No.
And yeah, and they're like, "This is kind of frightening." I'm like, I'm kind of used to it now.
I had a second one.
Yeah. Also, as I said in the video, shout out to Becca for making the drink videos look way good. She does a great job, and she set everything. I came out to make the drink, and it was already all set up for me. I was like, now I'm like talent. Like I just come in, and like the producer set it up. She had all the stuff cut, and I was like, man,
Your prop department.
yeah, she does amazing stuff. So.
I'm
Getting
really
so legit.
I'm impressed that it didn't turn green when you poured. I think it was the simple syrup, or I think it was the simple
Yeah.
syrup. And I was waiting for it to turn green. I'm like, oh wow, impressive. It didn't do that.
Yeah. The Stage Fright. This is about the night owl, a mass murderer, a bunch of folks trapped in a theater, and that's pretty much it's not long on plot. It's just it's like stalk and kill, but there's some fun people in the cast. Barbara Capisti from The Church and Cemetery Man, 2 other Soavi movies, is in it, and there's also I find there's a lot of Halloween influence in this. There's that eye stabbing that's really close to Halloween, but this is a very much and I'm saying this is a good way, style over substance movie. It's really fun. The end of this movie, I won't reveal it till we come back, but the end has one of my favorite things that's ever happened at the end of a movie. Like I love the end of this movie so much, and also because I love Joe D'Amato. This movie shows up in his movie 11 Days, 11 Nights. The characters go to the movie theater and watch it. And it's amazing. It shows up and like, why would you take your date to see Stage Fright? Like,
Why not?
Yeah, but that happens in that movie. And the soundtrack is really great. It's by Simon Boswell, who did a lot of Italian films around this era. And Bill said it was all a dream. That's the Explorer. There's some really dumb folks in this doing dumb things, dumb cops. One very smart final girl, obviously, and an amazing killer. And it really sets up my favorite slasher thing where, of course, we have to collect all the bodies and put them in the same place at the end. And when that happens in this movie, it's probably the best version of it, outside of maybe Happy Birthday to Me. The scene where he shows up on stage with all the bodies is really wild. So I love that. Is it my favorite Italian movie set in a theater? Night Killer, though, has that beginning where everybody's dancing on stage. So I do love that movie too, but I would say it probably is.
Is it your favorite Giallo that stars a bunch of stage actors who lock themselves in a theater and then there's an escaped mental patient?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Outside, it's not my favorite horror movie that does that because Theater of Blood might be, but it's close. Yeah, they're very close.
With a cat jump scare.
No cat jump scares.
Okay,
no.
there you go.
Yeah. If you love cats, and I know someone in the on the video does this, it does have a cat in it. So if you're excited, Drink when you see the cat. That should be the drinking game. You'll drink when you see a key fall into holes. Like outside of maybe Inferno, this has one of the most upsetting trying to get the keys moments. So if you get anxious when you lose your keys, perhaps this is not that moment. At least it doesn't. I was gonna say at least it doesn't go into the water and you have to swim under your house. But this one might be worse. So
Well, if you really and also drink if you want to get really drunk before the second movie, drink every time someone does something stupid.
yeah. Or screams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure. This movie makes no sense
Yeah.
whatsoever. And I think that was my whole problem with it. I used to be really uptight, I guess, about movies. Even though I was getting into all those fashionable Italian films, Dario Argento, ooh. And this would have been like the 90s, way too late in the 90s, by the way. I didn't get onto Argento until way too late. But, it was just sort of like this really awesome new way of looking at movies, I guess. And I wasn't ready to go for this film's ride, but now I go back on it. This is probably going to be the first time I've seen it in maybe like 10 years.
Oh wow.
It's been a few years it's been since I reviewed on the podcast like 3 years ago. So it's been a couple years for me too.
This is the kind of movie where I watched Bill made the trailer that played before this, but anytime I see the trailer for this movie, I get ridiculously excited. Just hearing the music and like some of the camera shots, I'm like, oh man, this is it's such a good ride. I love this movie for that. And I like slashers a lot. I'm sometimes like, I try to be intelligent about movies, but sometimes I'm like, I just like seeing people do dumb things and pay for it. So I'm easygoing about that.
It's fun. I like it. That's how I brought this up when the last episode that I recorded for my podcast that'll be out next week. But we were just talking about like movies that just like we like to watch for fun, and like Stage Fright got brought up, and I was like, yeah, it is like just a fun one. It's not like depressing or any of some of the other films. Like the movie that we were watching is White of the Eye, and I'm like, oh, this is deep. I was like, this is deep. This is really like, this is rough. And I was like, let's watch was really excited to be watching Stage Fright tonight.
Kamal, who did that movie, had a crazy career of like all of his movies are like super deep, and like you think when you go into that one, you're like, oh, this is going to be. I did the same thing. This is going to be a fun slasher, and I'm like, no, it's not at all.
No, he had 4 of them, and they were all pretty deep.
Yeah.
You chose this movie, didn't you, Diana?
I don't know. I sort of said Giallo, since I talk about it so much. I'm like, maybe not a straightforward Giallo. And then I, for the second part, I said, it could be a slasher, something woman-led, USA Up All Night, like dealer's choice. Just pick whatever. So I think we sort of meshed the two. But I'm happy. It's been a couple years since I've seen it, and this one it's a cool one to talk about. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, the second one, Bad Dreams, definitely did play USA Up All Night. And September on BNS About Movies is USA Up All Night month. And it will be all movies that were featured on USA Up All Night. And I know Mike Justice is going to write about one of them that he loves. So
that's cool.
And so there'll be a lot of, I'm sure HOTS will be covered. There's a lot of, I did a letterbox list of every movie that played on USA Up All Night. So I'm super excited about
Mike
that.
Justice is a great writer. He wrote an Instagram post the other day that I've said he should publish as a book. It was so good.
That's why he was doing those like lists of like my 10 favorite 90s movies and stuff. And I'm like, I started putting them on the site because I'm like, this writing is so good when he writes about like Sliver and stuff like that. Like more people need to see it. So I put it on the site because like I love when he writes stuff. And I like when anybody talks about Sliver because come on.
Talks about what? Oh, Sliver.
Sliver, yeah. We talked about it last week too. But only the version with the volcano. That's the only version I like, where they fly the helicopter into the volcano.
Sliver's a mess.
Bill, I got to say, yeah, I saw that Chris said my CBS late movies month is ending. But man, I discovered a movie this week, Vultures from 1983. Have you ever seen that, Bill?
I have, and I think it was on the CBS late movie.
Yeah. I didn't realize that the same actor played 6 roles, and he was a really famous drag performer from the 70s. They saw him, the director Paul Leader, who did My Friends Need Killing and I Dismember Mama, saw him perform in Vegas and said, "We should put you in this movie and you play multiple roles so people don't know that you're playing." Like, there's one scene where he's 3 people in the same scene. The way they shot it, it's pretty wild. And he does Barbara Streisand in the movie too. It's really wild. Unfortunately, though, Bill, Aldo Ray gets killed in the first scene he's in. Like, he's in like the beginning and he gets killed like literally 2 seconds after he appears.
I think this was before my obsession with Aldo Ray, so I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, Stuart Whitman is in it though, so another favorite. Stuart Whitman, if you were watching the CBS late movie, there's a 90% chance you were going to see Stuart Whitman show up. Or Yvonne DiCarlo, either one. You'll see both of them show up a lot. So yeah, but Vultures is really fun.
I have like a notepad going on that I'm writing all of these movies that I've never heard of. Oh my god, I have so many movies I have to watch. It's especially great because again with Joe Bob like ending the season ending, I'm always looking for Friday night double features to supplement the time. So I'm like, yes, I have a bunch. I have like 8 written down now. So
oh wow,
thanks guys.
Awesome.
All right, so
only other thing, Bill, is we didn't ask who has seen this and who hasn't in the chat. So let us know if you're a first-time Stage Fright watcher.
Stage Fright virgin.
Yeah, Bill's a reformed Stage Fright virgin. He hasn't seen it in a decade, so you're close.
I restored.
Yeah, it'll treat you better this time, I swear.
I wore one of those magic rings, and it like restored my Stage Fright virginity. So I'm finally doing it the right way this time. This is how it should have happened the first time.
Oh, yeah. This time it's going to be different.
Do you guys know if there's different cuts of this film?
I do not.
I don't know.
Because we're watching it on Tubi, right?
Yeah.
Tubi? Okay.
Well, I linked to the Tubi. If you got the Blu-ray, by all means, dig it out.
Yeah.
Is it on Blu-ray?
Yeah, Blue Underground put it out.
That's right.
Sure, they'll put it out on every format that has ever existed before.
There'll be a 10K ultra super high def disc so that you can see every pore in everybody's skin.
It's a beautiful film. Why not?
Yeah. I want a 3D version that plays in my Oculus Rift lenses and with smell-o-vision. Right, Bill? Yeah. If you watch it in Bill's studio, you get the fog effects. Like, you should watch The Fog with Bill while he's smoking cigars. It's pretty amazing. The best 3D experience Bill and I ever has, we saw the car at the drive-in, and the scene at the end when they're chasing, a truck drove really fast in front of the drive-in and hit a plate, and it literally like made a big clang noise, and everybody screamed in the whole drive-in. It was awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You could also have like someone like run up on you and like throw a pillow full of feathers at you.
We should do like a shadow cast version of it where we're behind people. Like in I think it's Amazon Women on the Moon, where the guy rents the video and like there's like field-o-vision in the theater or in the video. That's we need to do a version of that for Stage Fright where a key drops from the ceiling at one point.
Yeah.
If you've got Shudder, you can watch it on Shudder.
Yeah, I just popped onto Letterboxd just to see where it was streaming because I wanted to see if there were different versions of it other than that 90 minute. And for me, it says it's on Amazon Prime, Vudu, and Shudder. So Tubi wasn't listed, but that doesn't mean that it's not on there.
I linked to the Tubi on the Groovy Doom page. I made a post, but go find Stage Fright wherever you can find it and watch it. We always wait a little bit longer to go back on with the second segment to give everyone time to catch up. And Dianna Koch, you will be joining us for the second segment, correct?
And the third segment.
Oh, wow.
So I'll be here.
I knew you rocked. I knew you rocked. I knew you rocked. All right, we hope all of you will come back after the movie and feature. In the meantime, enjoy Stage Fright.